pronouns are he and him. I have the joy of serving on your board of trustees. It is my pleasure to welcome you to this holiday service for all ages. If you are here for the first time, thank you for joining us. We look forward to getting to know you. We invite you to fill out one of the visitor forms that are in the pews. Everyone present in the sanctuary today is welcome to join our in-person community time immediately following the service. Each week, we remind ourselves of our congregation's core values: connection, transformation, justice, and acceptance. Our mission is to embody these core values in our daily lives by welcoming all, inspiring compassion, nurturing wonder, and serving community. All are welcome to come to our Christmas Eve services. Our Christmas pageant for all ages will start at 3 p.m., and our Christmas Eve candlelight service will start at 7 p.m. Please also note that we will have only one service on December 28th at 9 a.m. It will be both in-person and live streamed. We will resume our regular Sunday morning service schedule on January 4th. We are so glad you are with us today. I invite those of you here in person to take a moment to greet one another.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Emily Mace. I use she, her pronouns, and I am the intern minister here at Unity Temple. This morning, our chalice lighter is Davin. Davin is 7 years old, loves the color blue and pink, and this afternoon is going to see Cirque du Soleil. Yeah. Let's join in our chalice lighting words. We are Unitarian Universalists. This is the church of the open minds, the loving hands, the helping hands. We take care of the planet Earth and each other. It's our tradition in December at Unity Temple to honor the season of Advent by lighting a candle each week on the 4 Sundays leading up to Christmas. We lit the first 3 candles so far this month for hope, faith, and love. And today we light the 4th candle for joy. The joy that our faith hopes for and the joy we find in love. Tonight marks the winter solstice, the darkest and longest night of the year. And tomorrow the sun comes back and the days are going to start to get longer again with more daylight each day. That is joy indeed. Tonight, joy will be present for Jewish families celebrating Hanukkah in the 8 candles on the menorah, which families will light tonight on the final night of the holiday, celebrating the miracle of the oil that stayed lit in the temple. That is joy indeed. And today at Unity Temple, in this service and in the 1045 service, we are going to be welcoming 10 children into our community in our celebration of child dedication. That is joy indeed, too. May all of these candles shine with the joy we find in our hearts, and may our own hearts help those lights shine strongly.
Good morning. My name is Madonna Thielen, and I'm happy to be your worship assistant today. December has been focused on the theme of hope. So what is hope? Brazilian theologian Ruben Alves answers that question. It is a hunch that the overwhelming brutality of facts that oppress and repress is not the last word. I've been asking the question about where is hope against the violence and the overwhelming brutality against our immigrant neighbors and to us who witness this violence. Where is hope? I think Ruben Alves has the answer when he says the brutality and the violence is not the last word. Hope is staying in the fight and not letting the violence have the last word. The last word must always be our standing up against the brutality. On one of my service trips to Guatemala, I met Guicha, who was in charge of the Women's Center in San Lucas. Guicha told her story of suffering physical, psychological, and emotional abuse at the hands of her battering husband. Somehow, she escaped, but she did not let the brutality, the wounds, the anger, the hurt have the last word. She started to tell her story. And then other women started to tell theirs. Eventually, the mission opened the Women's Center and named Guicha as its director. Her mission was to lay crumbs of hope by opening the doors for women to tell their stories of abuse. Guicha and the other women there empower each other and their daughters to be women of strength and hope. Together, they stand against the brutality of abuse. Together, they weave their cloth and sew their clothes and grow medicinal herbs. Together, they do not let the violence they have experienced have the last word. Together, they bring hope to the world. Hope invites us to stand against the brutality of the violence in our neighborhoods, our city, and our world. Let us stand together against the violence and not let the violence and the brutality be the last word. Let us be hope. Whoever you are, wherever you are on your life's journey, wherever you are in the world, you are welcome here. Come, let us worship together. And now I invite you to stand as you are able and join in the singing of Angels We Have Heard on High, number 231 in the black hymnals.
Rejoice.
Please join in reading the words of our covenant. Love is the doctrine of this congregation. Quest for truth is its sacrament. And service is prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve humanity in fellowship, to the end that all souls shall grow in harmony with the divine. Thus we gather with each other and with God.
Good morning. My name is Vanessa Crowder. I use she, her pronouns, and I serve on your spiritual care team. Love is the doctrine of this congregation. Sharing the joys and sorrows of our lives with each other is one of the ways we embody that love in our congregation. Those attending in person may share your joys and sorrows in the binder outside the doors to the sanctuary. You can also email your joys and sorrows to us at spiritualcare@unitytemple.org. If you'd like to talk with someone about what's on your heart, please feel welcome to contact the spiritual care team. We are here to listen and sit with you in times of both joy and sorrow. Here are the joys and sorrows shared this week. Mark Maynard is sharing a joy at the love and support shown by this congregation in these trying times. And please hold the Carmody family in your hearts. We were planning on dedicating Sully and Carson today and celebrating them along with their parents, Lindsay and Phil. However, Phil's dad had a stroke and a serious head injury this week, and they're taking him off of life support today. And we send the whole family love and courage and strength. We know that we hold some joys and sorrows in silence. We invite anyone who has a joy or a sorrow to come forward and drop a stone into one of the bowls of water at the 4 stations around the sanctuary. This ritual represents a mingling of our collective joys and sorrows. We invite you to engage in the spiritual practice of silence during this shared ritual. Let us begin.
I'm Reverend Emily Gage. My pronouns are she and her. I have a piece this morning from my colleague, the Reverend Sean Neal Barron, who serves at the UU Church in Fort Collins, Colorado. This is a piece called Responding to Hate. Being wildly and unambiguously trans-affirming in our community means we get transphobic letters who use Christianity as an excuse to hate. We could ignore them, but honestly, sometimes they deserve a response, not to argue, but to name a deeper truth, and this is a response to one such letter. Dear letter writer, you didn't leave a return address, but if you did, this is what I would say. There is a love wider than fear, deeper than control, queerer than we were ever taught to expect. A love that delights in people becoming more themselves, not less. A love that whispers to every trans and non-binary kid, you are real, you are holy, you are enough. Even though I am not Christian, I can still answer the question you pose. What kind of Christian love affirms trans kids? The kind that actually listens to Jesus. The kind that knows fear isn't faith. The kind that understands love was never meant to be a cage. It was meant to set us free. And here's the truth. A child discovering who they are is not a tragedy. A child being safe enough to tell the truth is not a threat. A child being met with love instead of shame is not abuse. But denying them that love, that is a tragedy. That is a threat to their dignity. That is abuse. So here's my street corner megaphone sermon. Life is vast, love is vaster. And if your faith has to erase someone to feel safe, it's not faith, it's fear. But good news, my letter writing friend, there's a better way. It's big and bright and free. And whether you believe it or not, you are already held in that love. May you know it someday. May you let it in. May you freaking sparkle. We have indeed a joyful occasion today. We're going to have a child dedication. I'm going to invite our three families to come forward. You can turn around and face the congregation. Here, come stay here. There's room here. I'm going to introduce you. This is Camila Buenaventura Mendez Stillhammer, and this is Maristela Gianna Mendez Steelhammer, and these are their parents, Elvis and Emily. We are bringing in all the Emilys, just so you know. This is Mina Ruth Sidney Bobbitt, and this is Davin York Bobbitt, and this is their mom, Jackie. Colin is home, hopefully watching. He's not feeling well today. This is Owen Robert Shue, and this is Liv Evelyn Shue, and these are their parents, Peter and Claire. Throughout human history, people have gathered as we do now to welcome those born into our midst and to assure their parents of our love and support. We do this in recognition of the eternal mystery of ongoing life and the need we all have to belong to a family and a community of mutual assistance. This is a charge to the parents, Elvis and Emily, Jackie, Peter and Claire. Your affection and devotion will cradle your children for many years, but the larger world will offer no such assurance. You must help them to find their own strength to face it, to each be a real person in their own right. You would have them know deeply their own worth. You'll give them moral support and guidance and offer the joys of safe but challenging communities of faith, family, and fellowship. And so we charge you to prepare Owen, Liv, Camila, Maristela, Mina, and Davin to be adults, aware of the world as it ought to be. I mean, it's worth dancing about. Aware of the power of dedicated individuals to change its course, and aware of the power of love to redeem and transform, if that love has courage as well as affection. Elvis and Emily, Jackie, Peter, and Claire, will you dedicate yourselves this morning to the sacred responsibility of parenting your children and to that way of life that will fill their hearts with memories of gladness, love, and wisdom? If so, please say, we will. Okay. Davin, Mina, Camila, Maristela, Liv, and Owen, we're going to bless you with 4 elements. Emily and I are going to do this, and the first thing we're going to bless you with is water, which is symbolic of the spirit of life as it touches every shore and nourishes all people. And the water we're going to use is from our congregation's water communion ceremony. So it's from many different sources, many different journeys, and it comes with everybody's wisdom and stories to help you along the way. We bless you with water with a prayer that you will grow in reverence for our common humanity. Okay, I'm going to put some on your forehead, okay? It's a little cold. Ready? Okay. Mina, I'm going to give you a little water. Ready, over? Now we will bless you with earth, a symbol of strength and groundedness. We pray that each of you, like all who dwell on earth, will know that your body is good. May you use your sacred power and agency to make yourself fully at home in your sacred body. Would you like some of this in your hand? Just a little bit. We don't. There you go. You can feel its textures. You can wipe it on your face or your wrists. You want to hold some dirt? There you go. There you go. You can rub it between your hands. Feel it in your fingers. We're going to bless you with fire from our chalice. You're not going to touch it. Just watch it. Fire of our chalice is a sign of our faith, with the prayer that you will honor your passion, your deepest convictions, and that you will always let your inner light shine brightly.
Lastly, we bless you with air, the sustenance for the breath of life. You will be inspired by sparks of the divine. May you each honor this inspiration and in time be the source of inspiration for others, as I know you already are today. I've been looking forward to this one. Gotta get it open though.
We're going to give each one of you a flower, unique in all its natural beauty, separate and distinct from all flowers in creation, to express symbolically our hope that all your life long you will unfold and blossom just as you must in all of your own unique and natural beauty. And I took off the thorns this morning to symbolize the way that, especially when you are young, your parents and the grown-ups around you will help protect you and keep you safe as you learn and grow. Here you go, Gigi. Okay. There's the flower. You're welcome. Davin, Mina, Camila, Maristela, Liv, and Owen, we welcome you into our midst and into our keeping and into our hearts. May you always know that whoever you are, wherever you are on your life journey, you are welcome here. In our faith tradition, the primary blessing a child receives is not from a religious leader, but from the religious community that shall sustain them. I invite you all to join me in dedicating these children by turning to the responsive reading found in your order of service.
But first, I have a question for all the children and young people that are here. All of these children gathered here are now officially part of our church family. Will you help them and play with them and learn and grow with them? If so, I want you to say, "We will."
We will. I invite you to join with me in the words of our dedication responsive reading. It is our faith that each child is one more redeemer. Each new life comes to us as a gift and makes its demands, exacts our attentiveness, and blesses us.
May we be worthy of the gift of young life.
Are you ready to dedicate yourselves to Davin, Mina, Camila, Maristela, Owen, and Liv, and to assisting their families?
We are prepared. We dedicate our minds and hearts to each lives and to their parents. We dedicate ourselves to the children, Davin, Mina, Camila, Maristela, Owen, and Liv, are raised in the spirit of love.
Will you strive to love and cherish Davin, Mina, Camila, Maristela, Owen, and Liv in times of struggle as well as gladness? Mina, Camila, Maristela, Owen, and Liv, we will love and cherish you always. We acknowledge the divine spark within each child. May we be worthy guardians of these young lives. May we build a community in which they will grow old, surrounded by beauty, embraced by love, and cradled in the arms of peace. Amen. Hooray and welcome! Each week, Unity Temple splits the offering evenly. One half supports the programs and mission of our congregation, and this week the other half benefits Beyond Hunger, whose mission is harnessing the power of communities to end hunger. Their work is even more essential today as more people experience food insecurity. Beyond Hunger serves 13 local zip codes, areas, and creates solutions to end hunger at every stage of life. Their work includes the OPR food pantry, nutrition and health education, kids' food programs, including schools and summer camps, home delivery to those with disabilities and older adults, social services, cooking classes, grocery shopping tours, health screenings, food rescue programs, and advocacy for food insecurity. There are many volunteer opportunities at gobeyondhunger.org. May we be transformed by our giving, and may the world be transformed by our gifts.
Okay, if there's anyone who likes to come close while listening to a story, I invite you to come back up here if you're interested, or you can listen to the story from your seats. Our story this morning is Boris and Stella and the Perfect Gift. Boris and Stella lived in the city. Boris played the piano every night in the little restaurant downstairs. He played music that he learned when he was growing up in Russia. Stella adored his music. Stella was a baker. She baked cakes in the little shop next door. Boris adored cake. They both liked hats and scary movies. It was true love. Hanukkah was almost here, and Stella wanted to give Boris something special. She shook her savings bank upside down. Only a few coins fell out. How could she give Boris something special if she only had a few coins? She looked around the little apartment. All she had of value was a pine tree from her family's farm in Italy. Her papa had given it to her when it was a seedling. It reminded Stella of her home and family during Christmas. Suddenly, Stella had an idea. She put on her favorite hat, picked up her tree, and carried it down a long flight of stairs. The owner of the flower shop next door was happy to buy Stella's tree. It was just the right size for his shop window. Stella didn't need a tree to remind her of her family during Christmas. They were always in her heart. The shopkeeper paid Stella enough money so she could buy Boris a special gift. Stella knew exactly what she wanted to give Boris for Hanukkah. She hurried across town to a shop that sold dreidels. The shopkeeper had only one left. The Hebrew letters on dreidels sold in Israel stood for "a great miracle happened here." Stella thought it was a miracle that she had met Boris. It was the perfect gift. Boris was troubled too. It was almost Christmas, and he still didn't have a gift for Stella. Boris wanted to give her something special for Christmas. He shook his savings bank upside down. Only a few coins fell out. How could he give Stella something special if he only had a few coins? Boris looked around the tiny apartment. The only thing he had of value was his dreidel collection. His mama and papa gave him one on every Hanukkah when he was growing up in Russia. They reminded him of his home and family. All of a sudden, Boris had an idea. He put on his favorite hat and he took his dreidel collection across town. The owner of the gift shop there was happy to buy his dreidels. He had just sold his last one to a customer a few minutes earlier, and he didn't have any left. Boris got enough money to buy Stella a special gift. He didn't need the dreidels to remind him of his family during Hanukkah. They would always be in his heart. Boris knew exactly what he wanted to give Stella. The little flower shop next door had a beautiful Christmas tree in the window. On the top was a dazzling glass star. It would be beautiful on top of Stella's tree. Stella was a dazzling star to Boris, and Stella meant star in Italian. It was the perfect gift. This year, the 8th night of Hanukkah fell on Christmas Eve. Boris made delicious potato latkes the way his mama made them in Russia. He served them with a giant dollop of sour cream on top, just the way Stella liked them. Stella made a panettone cake, like the ones her papa used to make in Italy. She filled it with hazelnuts and topped it with chocolate, just the way Boris liked it. The last night of Hanukkah was Stella's favorite because she and Boris could light all the candles in his menorah. The room glowed orange. Big fluffy snowflakes fell outside. It was a perfect Hanukkah Christmas night, but something was missing. Then Boris noticed what it was. "Where's your tree?" he asked Stella. Stella gave a small box to Boris. "I sold it to buy this for you," she said happily. Inside the box, Boris found a beautiful dreidel. He threw his arms in the air. "Bоже mой," he said in Russian. "Oh no." Stella looked over at the fireplace mantel. "Where are all your dreidels?" she asked Boris. Boris presented a box to Stella. "I sold them to buy this for you," he said. Inside the box, Stella found a brilliant glass star for the top of the tree she didn't have anymore. "Mamma mia," she said in Italian. Boris put his new dreidel on the mantel. "This is the beginning of our new dreidel collection," he said. "It's going to be magnificent." Boris always knew exactly what to say to make Stella feel better. Then she noticed something lying in the corner. It was a small pine cone that had dropped from her tree. Inside there were seeds. "Look, Boris," she said, "we'll grow a new Christmas tree." She always knew just what to say to make Boris feel better. And I think there is one more page. There they are. The kids will stay in the sanctuary during the rest of the service today. So we won't have any special music to sing them out, but we do have other special music.
Hope has holes in its pockets. It leaves little crumb trails so that we, when anxious, can follow it. Hope's secret: it doesn't know the destination. It knows only that all roads begin with one foot in front of the other. I love this tiny little poem from Rosemary Watola Trummer. I love the image of following a trail of crumbs, a trail of hope crumbs. That's what a lot of the stories from December are about, following a trail full of hope, or maybe even hoping even when it seems a little crazy to hope. We tell a story about the sun and how it gets darker and darker at this time of year, so dark that we start thinking it's never going to get lighter, that the days are never going to get longer. But guess what? Today at 9:03 a.m., the winter solstice happened. And from now on, the days are going to get longer. We're going to follow a crumb or more of daylight each day. Tonight is the 8th and last night of Hanukkah. Hanukkah recalls a time when the Hebrew people regained their temple and needed to rededicate it to make it sacred. They needed oil to do so, and they had only 1 day's worth. They could have given up, but they lit up that oil anyway, and then that little bit of oil lasted 8 whole days, enough time to replenish their supply. They took one step of hope and faith and took another and another, all the way through to a miracle. And today, as we celebrate young lives among us and look towards Christmas, I think of the following Crumbs trail that leads to a baby being born, sometimes despite all odds, often with challenges, and always, always a miracle. All this is to say that if we need some crumbs of hope to follow, we can look to the stories of the season. And particularly in these days of this administration that is challenging all the values that we hold dear, there must be other crumbs to follow. I've read about how your senses can keep you grounded in hard times, and so here are some of the things that I thought of. I've been really working on paying attention to the gifts around me and in my day. In these short and cold days, my dog walking schedule means that I am outside most mornings when the sun comes up. I take in that beauty with my eyes, and I can feel it all the way into my spirit. I wonder what beautiful things you see each day that help make you feel good. Every morning after my walk, I brew my one strong cup of coffee for the day. I take a quiet moment, usually at the puzzle table. The first sip of coffee is one of my favorite tastes of the day. I bet you have some favorite tastes, things to taste. Maybe something special at this time of year or something every day. Last month, I went on a retreat to Massachusetts, and one day I got to walk to the ocean. And as is my habit, I often I video record when I make it there, since it's not very often, because this is one of my favorite sounds in the world. I'm happy to have that in my pocket for a calming moment. I have a list of things that I love about this time of year. One of them is having a real Christmas tree in our home. I'm sorry that even with all of our technological savvy, we can't do smell-o-vision, because the fresh pine aroma that comes wafting off this thing never fails to make me stop in my tracks and give thanks for my nose. And sometimes it takes some great touches to center ourselves and reconnect to at least a crumb of hope. On the right there is our dog Lloyd, who is happiest when he is snuggled up against you or you are busy petting him, preferably both. He will redirect you if you get distracted from your task. And also on the left is a very soft and cuddly emotional support chicken. Maybe you have a pet or a stuffed animal that helps your spirit. When in doubt, moving your body in some way always helps. I like yoga. This is not me. Maybe you do too. Maybe you like yoga too, or running, or soccer, or singing, or a million different other possibilities. Hope has holes in its pockets. It leaves little crumb trails so that we, when anxious, can follow it. Hope's secret, it doesn't know the destination. It knows only that roads begin with one foot in front of the other. I share some of the things that I love as a way for us all to remember the crumbs of hope that can help us. They aren't big things, and they don't need to be. They just need to be a small thing, and then that can help us get to the next small thing, and so on. I have seen this quote several times in the past months. Micro joys are how we survive macro grief. Little crumbs of happiness and hope are how we keep going in challenging times. I know there is hard news. There's been horrible news this week. It's discouraging and demoralizing. It is specifically designed for that. And so we must follow the crumbs. People in our government are arguing about whether or not the rest of us are entitled to living wages and health care and food. They appear to not be invested in helping those around them. But I don't need to look far at all to find generosity and care and community. Here is a tiny fraction of the food that has been collected for the Community Fridge Project in the past week or two from kids at schools around Oak Park. We believe in taking care of each other. This week, I got this book in the mail. This was compiled by my colleague, the Reverend Sean Neil Barron, and from which today's prayer came. It's a book of blessings for queer and trans lives. It is full of fierceness and joy and affirmation for all the beautiful and amazing people. Another one of my colleagues suggested she was going to carry it around from now on, like a first aid kit. And I offer this tiny bit from the dedication. May you never forget you are already whole, already holy. This too exists along with all the hard stuff. E.L. Doctorow once wrote, "Writing is like driving at night in the fog. You can only see as far as your headlights, but you can make the whole trip that way." We can keep putting one foot in front of the other, following the crumbs of hope, and we can make the whole trip that way. Hope has holes in its pocket. It leaves little crumb trails so that we, when anxious, can follow it. Hope's secret, it doesn't know the destination. It knows only that all roads begin with one foot in front of the other. May we listen to the stories. May we soak in the beauty with our senses. May we experience generosity and fierceness and joy. And may we keep following that hope all the way through our lives. And so, may it always be. I invite you to rise and body or spirit. We're going to sing Deck the Halls.
Thank you.
Hope has holes in its pockets. It leaves little crumb trails so that we, when anxious, can follow it. Hope's secret, it doesn't know the destination. It knows only that all roads begin with one foot in front of the other. Please join with me in the words of our chalice extinguishing. Carry the flame of peace and love until we meet again.